Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Todd Bowen from sittingposture.com. Welcome to today's video in the Computer Posture Review series, Computer Posture Mistakes and Fixes, Episode 10. Thanks for joining me. I value your time. I promise I will make it as worthwhile as possible. Computer posture can be a very painful and boring topic. I try to create content that is free, open-minded, relatable, and easily actionable. Quick note, the info in this presentation is not medical advice. It's based off my experience and my opinions. I talk about good habits that have helped me live a higher quality sedentary lifestyle. Do your research, make good decisions, and be the best possible advocate you can be for your own healthcare. The specific goals of my channel are to help the user decrease pain caused by sitting at a computer. That's always going to be my number one goal. Increase energy, improve mental clarity, and increase work productivity. Quick note about me, my name is Todd Bowen. I've got an information technology degree, so I've taken classes like workstation ergonomics and user design, user experience, lifelong athlete and exerciser, and 20 plus years of a sedentary lifestyle. Here's a quick look at my website. If you want to, you can go there, sittingposture.com, and sign up for my email newsletter. I only send out one email a week on Fridays usually. It contains a link to the article that I wrote for my website that week, as well as the 2 links for the 2 YouTube videos that I posted that week. I'm not compensated by any product sellers or manufacturers. There's no paid promotion in this video. And with that said, now let's get into Computer Posture Mistakes and Fixes, Episode 10. We're going to go over some photos here. This is one that I go over very often. He's got that natural S-curve in his spine, but he's got that also that forward lean. He's got that forward head tilt in front of his torso, which is going to cause a lot of strain in his neck. He's got that inflammation going on in the upper back. When the slouch in the upper back goes forward like this, it's also known as kyphosis. But we'll try to stay away from medical terms like that. Keep this simple. The elbows are at a decent height. They're just above the desk setup, so that's a good there. He's not taking advantage of the back support at all. I would definitely slide this chair in a little bit and maybe slide this monitor a little closer to him. That way he may not feel like he has to lean forward so much, maybe stress causing it. And last but not least, the feet are very important. I just did a video on how to position feet when using a computer. And this one I'm pretty sure was on there. It's a great example of how not to do it on his one foot on the left and how to do it on his foot on the right. We want to keep that foot flat on the floor as much as possible when sitting at a computer desk. We don't want to make that ankle joint work while we're sitting for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, because our body was not designed to do that. It's a very natural movement if we're running or walking or in a squat position, lifting weights. But sitting at a computer desk 8 hours a day with our ankle in a position like that is not healthy. What that'll do is that will create a lot of tension, a lot of shortening of the muscles and tendons on the front side of the leg, and lengthening and tightening of the muscles on the back side of the leg. So here's a better example of better posture, taking advantage of the back support. Got the natural S-curve going on in the spine, got the head above the torso for the most part, not leaning forward ahead of the torso. Elbows are just above desk setup, and both feet are flat on the floor. So here's an example. I used to sit like this a lot. What he's doing, I would say he needs to raise his chair a little bit because he's leaning forward and he's flaring his arms out to the side. You can notice his elbows are not near his torso. He's flaring his arms out on the side in order to get his elbows onto the desk. So I would raise this chair up a little bit. That will allow him to relax those arms, bring them in a little bit, bring his elbows in a little closer to his body, would be ideal. This caused a lot of pain when I would swing my arms out like that to the side laterally at almost a 45-degree angle away from my body. It caused a lot of pain up in my traps and my neck and up in the shoulder muscles over here. Pretty much anything attached to the collarbone was tight and just not moving very well at all. He's got the big bulky black keyboard, which I'm not a fan of. He does have an extended monitor, which is good. His eye level is right at the top of his monitor screen. Going back to this monitor for a second, the big plastic bulky monitors I'm not a fan of. He has to engage his wrist just to lift his fingers onto the computer. That's what caused me a lot of carpal tunnel syndrome. It's barely visible to the human eye, But if he was using a flatter keyboard, more low profile keyboard, he wouldn't have to engage that wrist muscle for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, and that would it was pretty eye opening when I switched over to a flat keyboard. My carpal tunnel syndrome went away within a matter of a few days. It was pretty eye opening. I'm not sure exactly what she's trying to demonstrate here. She's doing a few things right, but she's definitely leaning forward. She's not taking advantage of the back support, which on this chair would be tough to do because she'd have to lean back in order to do it, and doing that and typing would be difficult. But anyway, it's hard to say without a desk here, but her elbows do look at a decent height, say if the keyboard is right here. Leaning forward like that, even if she has a decent natural curve going throughout her spine, leaning forward like that will definitely cause a lot of tension in the hip flexors and the muscles in front of the abdomen and the pelvis. That's speaking from experience. It took a long time to heal that. And she's got a little bit of the forward head going on here, so it will strain that neck a little bit. Here's a good picture. So if you look here, look closely, he looks like I think that's a keyboard. He's got a very flat keyboard, very similar to hers. She's got a low profile, flatter keyboard than the picture a couple pictures ago. She's got an extended monitor, which is awesome. The top of the monitor is near her eye level. He's got an extended monitor, which is awesome. And also notice that he raised his monitor in order to get it to the top of his screen at his eye level. So that's very important. He's obviously taller than she is by looking at this. So he raised his monitor. It's not always necessary to raise the monitor. It depends on height of the person. But he didn't settle for just an extended monitor and looking down at the top of his monitor. He raised it, and I like that position right there. It's kind of hard to tell what that guy's got going on. But she's also got the flat, low profile mouse right here, which I like a lot. Same thing with the mouse and the keyboard. If you got to engage that wrist muscle to lift your hand and fingers onto the keyboard or the mouse, that could easily cause carpal tunnel. That's what caused carpal tunnel syndrome with me, and it's much better off with a lower profile keyboard and mouse right there, in my opinion. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the mask here, but this is a great picture. I don't know how crucial it is to have this artwork in front of him, but hopefully he doesn't have to do that all day, because what that's doing is causing him to push that keyboard. Here's another big bulky plastic keyboard he's got to engage his wrist muscles to get his hands onto. Not a fan of those. But he's pushing that keyboard so far forward. He's got the extended monitor, which is good, at the top of his eye level. That looks decent. But pushing this keyboard really far forward like that is going to cause a lot of overextension in the upper back and the external shoulder muscles. External rotators back here on the back of the shoulder. And also he's got his elbows flared out at a 45-degree angle also, and laterally. The elbow is away from his torso. So this is going to cause a lot of compression in this front area, and the chest. He probably doesn't have his abdomen engaged at all, which will cause weakness there, compression in the chest, and overextension in the upper back and shoulders. Here's a good photo. Got the extended monitor, which is awesome. At the top of the screen is his eye level. He's got the flat mouse, which is really good, low profile, flat keyboard, which is awesome. You can tell, see, his wrists aren't engaged in order to lift his fingers on to that mouse. It maybe just a little bit, but it's much more beneficial to have that slight engagement of the wrist than it is to lift it onto that big plastic bulky keyboard. So I like both of those, what he's got going on. I don't like how he has to sit at an angle. I'm not sure if that's necessary, but I definitely wouldn't do that. I would take that computer and put it at the middle of this desk, because what's happening is when he sits at an angle like this, he's got that left elbow on the desk, but he's got that right elbow suspended in the air. And it's also below the desk just a little bit. So I would definitely raise this chair up, and I would turn it straight to the desk. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, the elbow on the left elbow on the desk and the right elbow suspended in the air, that's definitely going to cause a major imbalance somewhere on the right side versus the left side of his body. It's going to cause muscle extension on one side and muscle compression on the other. From overuse. But otherwise, he's got a decent up and down posture in his torso, and his head is not tilted forward in front of his torso. All right, here's a good one here. looks like he's flaring his arms out also. That seems to be the theme for these for this episode 10. He's got his arms flared out, his elbows away from his body. So I would say that chair could be raised up a little bit, and that would allow him to keep that elbow tucked to his body a little more naturally, because flaring his elbows out like that is going to cause a lot of pain. The traps throughout the muscles and tendons connected to the collarbone and the lateral shoulder muscles. Looks like he's got a big black plastic bulky mouse, which I'm not a fan of. Here's a better picture of it here on the desk across from him. Yeah, big mouse, big keyboard. I don't like those. I do like how they got how this company's got the extended keyboard for the people, for the users. But it looks like that keyboard and that mouse I'm not a fan of due to carpal tunnel syndrome, speaking from experience. All right, let's go over here. Obviously, it's not an ideal location to workstation to work at, but she may just be working for a few minutes or whatever. I would just definitely, I get it. Sometimes we have to open our laptop and we have to get something done, regardless of where we are. If there's a table and a chair, we're going to open it. We're going to get some stuff done. But if this is her desk, for multiple hours a week, I would definitely invest in even though it's not exactly aesthetic as the rest of her furniture, an external monitor. I got mine for like $150, not too expensive, and then a $20 HDMI cable. Plug it in from the monitor to the laptop, and it immediately works. You don't have to download anything or pay for any programs. But one more thing to mention, she's got her legs crossed down here. I know that's very socially acceptable for women, but that's something I would definitely be careful of. Her feet aren't flat on the floor. That could cause a muscle imbalance as well, especially if she always sits like this. I would definitely try to switch it up if I had to sit with my feet crossed like that. But I would try to avoid it at all, if all possible. And also, this chair doesn't look like it raises up, so I would get a different chair. So it can raise up a little bit. In order for her to keep her elbow naturally to her side, you can see, look at that, how that arm is flared out right there, flared way out. So if she raises it up, she can naturally keep that elbow to her side and keep that elbow just above the desk setup. Here's a really good one. She's doing a lot of things right. She's got the extended monitor at the top of her monitor screen is at the eye level. She's got the flat mouse. She's got the flat keyboard, low profile stuff. I like that a lot. She's got a decent up and down posture. It's hard to tell not looking at it from the side as far as that goes, but it does look decent. She might be leaning her head forward just a little bit. Maybe if she took this monitor and moved it a little closer, maybe that will allow her to relax her head over her torso just a little bit more. But the one thing I will say is definitely I would change here is her elbow is below the desk setup. What that causes her to do is to engage her bicep in order to put her wrists on the desk. It sounds crazy, but that just a little bit of a contraction of the bicep for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, can cause all kinds of pain in the elbow and in the shoulder, because these biceps are attached to the elbow and the shoulder by tendons. So a lot of times people get computer pain from using a mouse or using a keyboard. They get pain in the shoulder. They think it's a shoulder issue. It's actually the elbow being too low below the desk level, which causes the bicep to contract all day long, and the overuse of that bicep leads to pulling on those tendons in the shoulder and in the elbow, and inflammation there. We typically, when I used to sit at a computer desk 40 hours a week, I would typically get pain much more often and much more quickly in my tendons at the joint, as opposed to the muscle that was causing the issue. Muscles are attached to tendons, tendons are attached to bones. But otherwise, aside from lifting this chair up and lifting her elbows up just a little bit, I think this posture right here is pretty good. Here's one look at the last image. I show this image often. He's got the top of the monitor screen at eye level. He's got the elbows just above desk setup, which is good. And last but not least, very important, he's got those both feet flat on the floor. And that's it for Computer Posture Mistakes and Fixes episode 10. Thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're taking a big step forward in improving the quality of your life. Sign up for free email updates like I mentioned in the beginning of the video if you'd like. One email a week. I don't send spam. I don't spam. It's usually on Fridays. Sittingposture.com/newsletter. What I do is I include the link to the article that I wrote for my website that week, as well as the 2 YouTube videos that I posted that week. And if you want to, you can download a free computer posture checklist. All this stuff is free. Sittingposture.com/checklist. This is 14 easy steps to check in on your computer posture while sitting. This is for sitting only. I haven't done one for standing yet. And finally, subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/sittingposture. Don't forget that @ sign in order to get to my channel. All of my content is free, and it always will be. The more people that see my videos, the more ability I have to make more content. So if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. It would help me out in a big way. Or even feel free to forward this video to a friend or family member who sits at a computer full time. That's the ultimate compliment. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. This has been Computer Posture Mistakes and Fixes, episode 10. See you guys on the next video. Take care.